Hello there, everybody, and welcome to
God Culture.
Is this over yet? No, I don't know. Anyway, I'm Adam, joined by Ash and James, the small council of massive legends. Does that work?
Ooh,
We'll go with that. I can't believe I've just thought of that 2 episodes before the end. Anyway, the bells. I'm so glad you're here to put this all into context and explain precisely how we feel, because we have so many confusing feelings, James.
I know, it's hard, isn't it?
We'll try and go through them in a fairly logical order, because that's what we do here on Got Culture. We have good structure. And we start at Dragonstone. Now, stop me if I'm wrong here, but when people look back on the whole story, is this like few scenes in Dragonstone going to go down as like some of the most important things that ever happened?
Quite possibly, yeah, because obviously these are the precursor to the stuff that comes next.
We should probably stress, as James is going the stuff, this will be full of spoilers, full of spoilers. If you're still here and you don't want any spoilers, it's now on you. There was your chance. Right, stuff.
So the Daenerys destroying King's Landing stuff.
That happened.
Yeah, that's all rooted in Dragonstone.
Yes. I mean, we started with, obviously, last episode, Tyrion and Varys disagreed over what the right course of action was. He still wanted to back Daenerys. He said, she's not got the best interests of the realm, my lord, at heart, and told Tyrion to do what you feel you must do. And it transpired that what Tyrion felt he must do is grass him up. Now, fair enough, I guess, because if he's going to back Daenerys, he can't have somebody working against her, and Varys was beginning to it. We saw him writing the little notes. Who would you think they are to, by the way? Is he just getting the word out?
Yeah, I think, there's like Lord of the Vale, Robin Arryn, he's still kicking around somewhere. Ugh. That new Prince of Dawn that was mentioned.
We didn't even bother to give a name to him.
Not yet, but when he comes back next episode and kills Daenerys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what? Is that how it all ends? Just this Prince of Dawn comes back.
The Dawn comeback story.
Sits on the throne, that's it.
The night is always darkest before that sort of works. Anyway, so...
Oh God, you full of them?
I don't know. I've just, I'm all pent up because I've filmed ups and downs. We get... as a bit of cinematography goes, the bit where she says, Mother of Dragons, and Drogon just comes out of the dark. The one time in the whole season that the darkness has actually worked for them. And then she roasts him alive.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Well, it's just very Daenerys, isn't it? It's just very much on brand with the whole Dracarys thing. Like with, what's his face, Sam's family earlier.
Vitalis.
You don't bend the knee, you get a bit of dragon on you.
She did specifically get a bit of dragon on you. I remember this, I was writing the thing before. She specifically tells him in season 7, if you ever betray me, I will burn you alive. Yeah. And
look,
true
woman of her words.
Yeah, you can't falter there.
Do you think she's starting to unravel by this point, or is it not until the scene with Jon where it really sort of snaps?
I think she is a little bit. I think gradually throughout a whole arc, if you look back, probably. But certainly this season, we've seen the seams kind of coming loose as she's become increasingly isolated. And it does ramp it up in this episode. But that's certainly a part of it, a stepping stone too.
What is Jon Snow's problem? Why can't he ever play the game? Like, every single problem he gets into is because he's just, I'll just do what's right.
Why can't he shag his ass?
Just bang your auntie,
no, it's not even that. It's like, everybody in the Night's Watch hated him because he just had to do the thing he promised he was going to do. And then, like Ned Stark's honor got him killed. Yeah. And we could have avoided so many problems in season 7 if he just sort of told Cersei that he would, like, swear fealty to her and not actually done it. It's just, why every problem in this show is caused by Jon Snow just not being able to get over himself.
Yeah. Just tell a little lie, John. Just go for it.
This woman has a dragon and she's threatening to massacre an entire city. Just say you fancy her. Like, he's got their blood on his hands, in my opinion. Because it's a bit weird for me now. So sorry, Dumpsville. And then she's like, all right, well, fear's all I've got then. Was that not? Does Jon have to take some of the blame for this?
I think like it's a bit harsh to say, if he'd have just banged her, she'd have been fine. She'd have been all right, wouldn't she?
He's already done it once, a couple of times.
But I don't think hinging all of Dany's like mental stress and her arc on Jon is a fair way of looking at how she's panned out.
I agree with that, but I just think like if that's clearly the moment where it's like that's it. She's lost every connection with another character she's got now.
Yeah.
Children are dead aside from Drogon. Yeah. Jorah, Missandei, Varys has betrayed her. She doesn't trust Tyrion anymore. And then it's all right. I've still got lovely Jon, haven't I? Lovely Jon. No, you're just kind of a queen sort of subject thing going on for me now, not really anything else.
He'll still bend his knee. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but that's not quite what she was asking. I think she wanted both of them bent.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
I don't really know what to do. I think it's been built well up enough. I just don't really... Just seeing a face change in that scene, we should have probably seen what happened was coming.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I mean, you can't predict that she's going to go to those lengths, I suppose. But you are seeing like the fragility of her mental state.
I thought it was a really, I don't know, I feel like Dany's break when she actually goes full, okay, let's burn this crap up.
Well done on not saying mother.
Yeah, there you go. When she actually just decides to do it, I think it's such a strange point and such a weird breaking moment. There's so many other times where it could have been like a snap, whereas that she was on her own, she was sitting on the wall, she was looking at everything. That city was hers, basically. And then they decided to push her over the edge. There wasn't like a snapping point.
We will get to that specifically because we leave Dragonstone and we go to King's Landing now. But on the way, we found out that Jaime, idiot boy, has been captured because he didn't take off his stupid golden hand. And we get this scene with Tyrion and Jaime. And you described it in your article as a very quiet highlight in a very loud episode. What do you mean by that?
It's because it's, this episode's got a lot of like scale and spectacle and bombast going on. But this is just two characters in a dark room, which is where the strength of Game of Thrones really like lies, playing on the relationships that have been built up and shown across the entire show. And Jaime and Tyrion is one of those really strong relationships, especially if you call back to season 4, which this moment does, where Jaime frees Tyrion and it all links back to that.
Well, he says specifically he never thought he'd get to repay his favour, which I think is quite telling given how far both characters have come in that time. Like Jaime was Kingsguard, untouchable, Cersei's on the throne, he should have everything, and Tyrion went across the sea with nothing, effectively, and here we are, he is now the other one's prisoner. As touching moments between two characters go, how hard did it get you in the feels?
Oh, it did stick a little knife in, twistle it round, watching them like hug and know that was probably the last time they're going to see each other. I thought it was going to be the last time they see each other because Tyrion was going to end up on a spit roast rather than Jaime the one that ends up biting it. But yeah, it was just really nice, like brotherly, loving. They've come together. They still love each other after all of this sort of moment.
Was that because these two have been so intrinsically linked, and I think the point of this scene is like, Jaime sort of bears his soul, like, I'm sorry, I don't care about my redemption arc. I do love my sister. I'm hateful like she is. And Tyrion says, everybody sees me as this monster, but you're the only reason I made it to adulthood. Is it, as far as soul bearing goes, has Thrones ever gone that deep and that hard? It was just so obvious that one of them was never going to make it back from this.
A little bit, yeah. Like, that hug says it all. But it was earned, so it works, yeah.
I'm going to try and get to the whole Jaime Cersei thing in a bit, but the Brienne thing last week, I think we sort of agreed it's on a bit of a knife edge. Like, if they just betray his whole story, then it feels a bit silly, whereas if it's a bit of a subversion, it could be clever. Like, it was sort of in this moment you realise he is just going to go back to her, isn't he?
Yeah. I felt really disappointed with Brienne's story for that. I feel like it did actually suit Jaime the whole way it ended. Like I found it quite touching stuff. I know they're two like brother and sister banging and everything, but that whole thing, we'll get to it. That's fine. But I felt really disappointed for Brienne as soon as it became clear that he is literally just following his way home for Cersei to love her, not to do anything like world ending. It was just like, okay, cool. Brienne's just been tossed off after one episode, quite literally. And that it just undermines her as a character. I think that they've made her this loving, weak woman, and then has to weep as he leaves. And
it's effectively the last we ever see of Brienne. She's just like meat in this story of Jaime going back to Cersei. Like, she's been built up as this really rich character. She gets that sweet dick once and then falls to pieces. It's not really a fitting end for her, really, unless she crops up and does something amazing next week, which I can't see happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she might fit in if there's...
It'd be nice if they give her a better payoff.
Yeah, the North are going to have to come back into it in some way, so Brienne, might have some fight left in her yet. I don't know if that's going to be like the last image we see of Brienne. I actually quite liked what they did with her last week, just in terms of giving her that very human moment where she was really able to open up again. Obviously, whether that works with where Jaime's arc goes is something we'll get into a bit later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see Brienne again.
If this was real life, she'd have already messaged Tormund you up at 2 a.m. by now. Anyway, though, moving down to King's Landing, the Golden Company are here, finally.
They were here.
Davos said they were so good. Stannis told us they were really good. Cersei was like big on getting them over for the forthcomings. And bad.
Useless.
Quite bad, yeah.
Don't do anything.
No elephants
No
still.
elephants, that's the problem.
Was it useless, though, in the sense that, like, their contribution to the story, their uselessness was a good part of the story, or was it just uselessness?
I found them kind of pointless because we've had them built up a little bit. Like, I didn't expect them to save the day or anything. but I expected them to do something. Because I've been hearing about them since like season 7. Oh, the Golden Company are coming. The Golden Company are here. The Golden Company are going to
Hello, I'm
defend
the
King's
Golden
Landing.
Company.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Where are your elephants, Golden Company? We've brought many things with the Golden Company, but not elephants, unfortunately. So you've just got the Golden Company. But rest assured that we, the Golden Company, are good in of ourselves.
Yeah.
Throw their swords on the floor as well. Literally just go, yeah, whatever.
It was just...
Shook that off.
There's going to be a lot of stuff because of the shortened season that doesn't get paid off, that doesn't get the conclusion it deserves. We've seen so many stories get gobbled up by other stories to kind of pad them out, but this is going to go down as one of the most disappointing elements of the season. Like, not getting to see them until the second last episode, and then nothing.
Yeah, it's just frustrating more than anything.
Did they have any option with this, realistically? Could they have done more?
Or with the Golden Company?
Yeah, like, I mean, in terms of budget, story, like, was there any leeway, or was just everything dictated this is how they had to go out?
Well, I mean, you can have them fight for a bit at least, have them meet the Dothraki. Have them
Also,
do
hold
something.
on. The Dothraki.
Yeah, they're still
where they come
around.
from?
The Dothraki. This was the main thing for me. It's like the Golden Company were there and everything, but so were the Dothraki, and they are definitely all dead.
It was last week when Greyjoy went, half, down to half. I'm like, half of what?
Excuse me?
Like, they're all in half? Like,
Yeah.
how are there any of them? We saw 4 of them come running back with Jorah.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, what did they do?
I have no idea. Reproduced very quickly.
Look, it was so dark, we didn't see them
Yeah.
come back.
Can we just say, by the way, the Dothraki being incredibly well behaved in
Yeah.
Westeros, given that we saw at Daenerys' wedding, they were literally just murdering each other and like shagging on the floor.
Yeah.
And they're just sort of like, Winterfell's very nice. I'm a very disciplined member of the cavalry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice of them, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're not really getting done proper justice either. They should have been like boning their way across the entire north of Westeros.
I thought there was going to be some like horrible red key because I had that bit with Jon saving a woman that was going to get attacked. I thought there was going to be, from the way Game of Thrones has been for all these seasons, I thought Dothraki were going to have some like horrible part where they'd be like, oh my god, they've unleashed all these like
They made them out to be
people.
they made them out to be savages in the
Yeah.
first couple of seasons, and then like she's just sort of like whipped them into line
Yeah.
very, very quickly.
Which is also impressive though, maybe, but if they'd have padded that out a bit more with her being, oh, I've taught these people this, that, and the other, and or this, keep saying this, that, or the other.
Any scene of Daenerys talking
Yeah.
to like the leader of the Dothraki or the generals, like, look, I'm your queen. You'll be
Yeah.
on your best behaviour. You're representing Essos. You let me down. You've let the school down. All that. That would have been fine because at least
Exactly.
they've addressed it. But it's another thing. It's just like so they're just fine now and invincible.
Yeah.
Apparently, the battle itself. You've spoken very, very highly of the cinematography in this. What was so good about it?
I just thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you could see it for a start.
Really?
But no, there was just some shots in there that I thought were like stunning. Just there was one of Tyrion where the King's Landing's destroyed and it's just him framed in these like big buildings. There was some of Arya, there was some Daenerys on the dragon. Just all of it. The CGI was incredible. Just the whole
hardly
like,
noticeable either. Which is when CGI is always at
Yeah.
its best. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what was like a big effects heavy shot.
I think like the dragon. I was like,
I mean, I'm aware that the dragon is effect, but it didn't feel like
Yeah.
coarse or anything. Do you enjoy the battle?
I did really enjoy the battle, and I agree that the cinematography was incredible. It had like a real sense of like pace to it. It wasn't just okay, we're here, everyone's like dying. That it felt like it built up to Dany having a big oh my god moment, and then we were just lost in it, and all these things happened. But it took time to actually go, okay, this is what this person's story's doing, this is what this person's story's doing. But then oh my god, everything's falling down. Like it was very good at the way it paced itself.
There's a full 6-minute sequence. If you're going to go watch it back at some point, go at 25 minutes because that's when it kind of gets to the King's Landing bit, and it's just people sort of moving into position, everybody sort of like bracing themselves. In fact, it feels like the city is like tightening up and clenching. 6 minutes long, this sequence. The music in it is incredible, and the way they get the tension across is incredible. I think it might actually be my favourite bit of the whole season. Just that bit, and it ends with him seeing the dragon coming out of the sky. All that speculation during the week. It's 3 baby dragons. That's what he's looking at.
it's dragon armor. It's just the dragon.
It was just a dragon. Like, how was that so hard for us? I mean, I didn't. That would have been like way down my list of things. It's dragon because he's going to get attacked by a dragon because Daenerys is riding a dragon and they're going to attack. Oh right. Why did we get so carried away with this stuff? There's been no theories happen this season at all, have there?
No. They really needed to put dragon armor on him, though, also. The whole thing with the scorpions last episode, where she's like, oh, fly in, have to retreat, loads of scorpions. This episode, she's just like, right, blow them all up
Yeah, but
then.
she bobs and weaves now.
Oh, God. She's
Settling
learned to
down.
zigzag.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I liked that she went back in with a vengeance, but I would have also enjoyed some armor on Drogon.
Yeah, the idea of dragon armor.
It's a bit weird.
It felt a bit silly because effectively it's clothes.
Yeah.
It's dressing up your dragon.
Yeah, but one got an arrow to the chest the other week. You'd put a little cloth on him, wouldn't you? You'd
But
go,
what would you put on him? Like those
piece of
arrows. Those
metal.
arrows were like carving clean through boats.
Yeah, well, you'd get a very strong piece of armor then, clearly. I don't know. All these feelings about this episode have absolutely scrambled my brain
Genuinely,
for this podcast.
I felt fine.
I'm bad.
I felt fine coming in after the Battle of Winterfell. I think
Yeah.
I had my life in order, I had all my ducks in a row, and I came in for this one. I was like, God, I'm a mess.
Literally,
here.
we did the review this morning. All I could talk about for 10 minutes was just how boggled I am. And now trying to speak, it's coming out the
You've
same
had a bit
as well.
of time. How's it settling?
I'm unsure about how I feel. I said earlier that I think it's going to work better in context when we know where the stories lead to. But I really enjoyed the scale of the battle and the actual delving into all the different things that happened. Cinematography, again, it was beautiful to watch. But again, there's choices that have been made that some characters I don't think have lived up to their full pelt in it.
Well, it's funny that you should mention literally everything you've just said there, because and also good that we've all got our ideas all sorted.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very cohesive because we've got we'll just quickly skim over this one. The very small issue of Dany's heel turn, effectively.
Oh, yes.
Going full. Can we use the term Mad Queen now?
I mean, people are going to.
She's
so.
killed.
Yeah.
She's probably killed more people than her father ever did.
Yeah.
With Dragonfire by this point, it's probably tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands,
Yes.
depending on how you want to count it. All of them mostly innocent people
Yeah.
after the city had surrendered. Talk me through this, because I've said in many videos, right? I always think the big bad of Game of Thrones is going to end up being Dany.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to be the ultimate thing because she's always been the one who craved power, and the show has always been about people who want the power on the people who should have the power, and
Mm-hmm.
the contrast between her and Jon is just too good to not make that the final conflict. But did it work for you, either of you?
I personally think it came at the wrong time. Like I said earlier, I think it was just very much a snap. Oh, look, loads of innocent people. Let's burn them. Like, that's what it came across like to me. But I think that seeding her decline into the Mad Queen and having this in her lineage and all this, like, half the Targaryens are crazy and all sort of thing, I think it was a really nice way for her arc to end. I think that this was where she was headed. As much as might have wanted to.
When you say it was the wrong time, do you mean it should have happened earlier in the season or like the episode?
I literally just mean the episode. I think they should have given her a moment of snapping rather than literally looking at a bunch of innocent people, because I think that turned her way too villainous. She's been quite nuanced in her good and bad. Like she's been quite firm and strong with all the things that she's done bad with, but she's always had reason for them as well. It's been like she's ruled with this iron fist, but it's been a kind of fair-ish one, like when she hung all the people up pointing back to the slavers and all that sort of thing. It was like, well, that's really gross, but at least she has a point to make with it. Whereas this, it didn't feel like she had the strong enough reasoning behind it for that to be the moment of her decline. If they'd have maybe done her face like cracking a bit more, I think maybe even that would have been a bit more investing for me.
Again, I've got to say that another really good performance by Emilia Clarke, who has come out of nowhere this season to actually be really, really good. I see what you mean about there wasn't like a catalyst for it. I'm sure the writers would argue that it was the bit with Jon, it was the bit with Varys, but that's very separate in terms of the episode.
Yeah.
It just kind of seemed that she was blood drunk, I guess.
Yeah,
like she was just the whole situation, that much dragonfire doing the rounds, and I don't know.
I'd have actually just liked it if like she'd have been near Jon or Tyrion and one of them had gone, don't, and then she'd have gone, whoa! Yeah, literally, I'd have actually quite liked that to be the catalyst or something, or just her looking at one of them and then going, right, yeah, F this.
Yeah, that would have worked, James.
Yeah, I kind of struggled with it a little bit, and then the more I watched the episode and then thought about it afterwards, I kind of came to really like what they've done, although I think the pacing is, again, the big problem that I'll come back to with every damn issue of this show for the last 2 seasons.
So many things have just needed that one little extra scene just to fully get it.
Just another couple of episodes and everything would be so much better, but ultimately I think this is where Daenerys' story had to go.
I agree, fully.
And I think I like the idea of her just not being the Mad Queen, or in the sense of her father, who was just this pure madness, but someone who's been driven to madness by her whole arc being, I want to go home, I want to find somewhere I belong, and then she gets home and she doesn't belong.
Yeah.
And she becomes so isolated, she loses everyone she cares about, she tries to do the right thing. And you talk about like the Targaryens being like the flip of a coin, Daenerys is like the personification of a coin flip. She wants to do the right thing, but she also wants to take what is hers with fire and blood, and she tries to reconcile those 2 parts of her. And then she gets up there and the bells ring, and she sees the Red Keep, and she's reminded of that whole Targaryen history that was robbed from her, and what her destiny is, and she just goes. And
Somebody pointed out on Twitter, she could have just flown straight to the Red Keep, but she pretty much zigzags across all of King's Landing.
She wants to burn that.
Yeah, literally. That's what it is. That's the thing. It's the snap, and then it's kill all the innocent people. It's not. There was no like, I'm going for Cersei. I'm doing this. I'm taking the keep. It was literally, let's just burn all these running peasants.
It was a hard watch in parts. Like, they didn't really. I mean, you've said yourself, like, Game of Thrones is so anti-war, despite the fact it's basically a whole show about war and conflict. It always shows it for what it is. That it is hell. There is horror in it, and they didn't flinch with some of the stuff they showed you on this.
No, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot to say that the most hard to watch bit of an entire episode was not somebody getting thumbed in the eyes again, but it was genuinely small children burning alive. So that's the thing I've seen now. But it worked though, right, guys?
Yes, because we needed that horrible, oh my God, what has she done? This is too far past the point of reconciling with her good side. And that's what you needed to see. Burning children, that's what they needed to do.
Before we sort of slightly move on from this, that's the last episode then? It's Jon versus Dany. It's the conflict of these two, because surely there's no redemption for her now, with one episode to go.
I don't see Daenerys being... I know she's done something horrible here, but I don't see it being... Daenerys is evil now and Jon kills the evil big bad. I think it's going to be... I hope it's going to be far more nuanced than that. And because I think Daenerys' downfall isn't one of being a villain, it's one of tragedy.
Yeah, agree.
I really hope they play into that, and that's how she meets her end in a very sad way almost, rather than let's kill the villain.
No, I agree. I think the whole Jon Dany thing has to be played out. The North as well with Sansa and stuff. You mentioned earlier that the whole episode and season has been a bit bitchy as be cray. Of the way that they've treated women. So I think that if they're doing this whole playing with power, sending people mad, and it being a woman-focused thing, then we need another force to equal that out. And Sansa would be a really good, grown through political ladders, learned everything, come and can be the level-headed antagonist to Dany's whole, I need the throne.
I mean, plus
storyline.
The meme potential you'd get out of a redhead winning Game of Thrones is going to be absolutely unreal. But there is one other we'll come back to in a little bit. One thing that didn't work even slightly, for my money, was horny pirate Bam Margera and his silly little fight on the beach.
Oh, it was bad.
Like, I mean, we talk about like Dany being this, it's a great payoff. They've been building to this. There have been teasers that she's slightly unhinged throughout the entire show. Yeah. And the contrast that with just, here is Euron Greyjoy. We need Euron Greyjoy because we need somebody to go get the Golden Company. We need Euron Greyjoy because somebody has to have sex with Cersei. Here is Euron Greyjoy because we have to kill a dragon. Nothing is ever actually about him. He has no real character in the show.
He's whatever they need him to be at that given moment.
For all people complain about plot armor keeping people alive, he's effectively just some plot, like, dagger. Like, here you go, done.
He did have a tiny dagger as well, didn't
Euron
he?
can do it. Euron can do it.
Yeah.
What was this? Why did he fight Jaime on a beach? After he's the only survivor of the Iron Fleet getting blown up. I'll just swim ashore. Oh, it's Jaime Lannister. Oh,
I'll fight him. Even like the way he gurns at the camera when he's like dying, he's like, I'm the man who killed Jaime Lannister. It's like,
you're not?
No one knows me.
Yeah, and he's not even.
There's no one there, and he's not dead. What have you done?
They did ruin him.
Was he ever good though?
Daddy Euron has been washed away. Like it was sad. I feel like there's so much more they could have done with him being a crazy pirate man, or at least getting like a scorpion turned back on him and like shot through with a big arrow. That would have been good. Seems he shot a dragon.
Big brutal death would have been nice.
Like something, a set piece, even if it was very fleeting and short, like him just exploding in a heap of fire or something.
Oh, another king for you? Like, was that it? It just, so I saw someone on Twitter describe him as that at every house party, there is always one person who has taken cocaine, and they think they are the only person in history who has ever taken cocaine. And that's Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah.
Every scene. Awful. Yeah, not going to be missed, sadly. No.
I would have in any other scenario, but that was not the one.
He seems, I thought if anyone would like him, it would be you.
Yeah.
He's got that grimy thing.
He's very
brand,
grotty. But this was not, didn't live up to his grime, to be honest.
You say he's in the books, isn't he? And he's amazing in the books, apparently. Vicious.
Yeah, he's kind of coming into it more and more, and the indication is in the Winds of Winter he's really going to step up as a much bigger villain, and he's into all kinds of like weird sorcery stuff, and he's like this just... There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with Euron and the books,
Euron.
or hinted at that's going to happen.
So I'm just the way I'm picturing that character though is like the bit in the Mighty Boosh where Howard starts like trying to impress goth girls, like, oh yeah, did a poo on a swan. That's what I'm getting from that Euron doing sorcery. Anyway, let's not give him any more
Very
time than he
different.
deserves. One fight that did work, we got Cleganebowl.
We did.
After all these years.
It wasn't how we expected it to be.
What did you expect?
I don't know. I don't know what I expect. I think I expected more theatrics and more people around, but that it was just them was good.
On a
Like-
staircase in a crumbling castle with a dragon flying around was pretty theatrical.
Well, I mean, like, I thought it would be a public thing, but that it was just them two again, and it came back to just them two fighting each other. I just thought that was... What?
James said we have to mention how he sees off Qyburn.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, when he just whacks him.
Get
all
lost,
across the room.
nerd.
Oh, I literally went, oh, yeah, Qyburn's dead then.
Explodes his head off the
That
back
happened.
of a rock.
Yeah.
I always think it's weird in TV shows. People get thrown like downstairs and into things, and no one ever just like bangs their head and like cracks their skull.
Well, there you go.
Opened him like an egg, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite bits of it. Well, did the fight work for you? You said in ups and downs that the main reason this works isn't because of the fight itself. It's because of the moment with Arya right before it, where you sort of. It really gives it another level of his motivations behind it. Like, I'm consumed by vengeance. Don't you be too?
Yeah, because Cleganebowl's always been a fan theory that I've never been like 100% into because it needs. You can't just have it be two big dudes bashing each other up.
Why?
For, like pure fan.
Why?
Like, and there's a way of doing it where it is just pure fan service that doesn't contribute anything to character arcs or the story. But they quite cleverly root it in the Hound's arc of vengeance and hatred, and tying that back to him being a mentor and now a warning sign to Arya of this is what you could become. I think that makes it so much more powerful that when we then get the fight and the Hound has to carry through with it, but Arya, when she says Sandor and turns away, that really hits you.
All of a sudden, because you don't really care about the Hound in so much as like he's very much got a death wish. Any scene could be his last. We've had all the good bits with him. Whatever happens. But just that little Sandor send off, I was like, I don't want him to die now. And to be fair, it's a fitting way to go.
Absolutely.
He throws his brother into the fire. They're dead, right? There's no. Because I mean,
we didn't see
we didn't see him die, and he is effectively undeadable by the looks of it. He got one through the eye.
He did.
He is dead though.
He's got to be.
He's surely dead.
Hopefully.
All dead.
I think that's the whole point of the fight.
Okay, well, R.I.P. in peace. Two people are also definitely dead. Jaime and Cersei.
Yeah.
Now,
Didn't see them die again. Maybe they're going to call
I
out.
think we can call that one pretty much cold in the ground. This is the one part of the show. I think the Dany thing works. I think it could have been done better. There's other story parts that are fairly one way or the other one. I don't know about this. She's been so badly used in season 8, Cersei. Like, missed 2 episodes entirely, barely featured in 2 more, and this is her final appearance in Game of Thrones after all those episodes, all those seasons of being one of the best things on television. And she just spends the whole episode staring out a window, looking more and more concerned, and then breaks down and gets crushed.
I would have liked it more. I think I could have coped with it without the breakdown. I think she needed to have this. I think she should have been resolutely accepting of it. If that's she's seen her city burn, she's with her brother, like she's where she wants to be. I get that the child thing is the one that stresses her out, but watching the city burn and her crying, I thought was strangely out of character because if it's being destroyed, then she knows that Dany's not going to win the will of the people or anything. Like, yes, it's her heritage being taken away from her and all this sort of thing. I don't know. It felt not as badass as it should have been is what I'm trying to get to. I feel like she's a lot more hardcore than what that scene played her out to be.
I mean, well, obviously, a lot of things are going to get, as we've already said, like stories get thrown by the wayside, other people's narratives get gobbled up into somebody else's because theirs is more important. But of all the people who you thought would have a almost non-existent season 8, Cersei.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like what they do with her in this episode, although I would have liked more of her in this episode. I would like more of her in every episode.
Yeah.
She's the best. And Lena Headey's the best, and she does it again without even needing to say anything.
Yeah.
Just that face is so goddamn good. But turning back to the death scene itself, I quite like that she breaks down. It becomes about Jaime and her unborn child and not wanting to die because they've kind of turned Cersei since Tommen's death into this huge villain who's just like this big evil monster. And now we've had Tyrion try to remind us that she's not a monster, and it like hasn't quite done that. And then we finally see, oh no, she is human, and it kind of loops her all the way back around to that woman we had in season 1 who was like talking to Robert about, would it ever work for us? Did you ever love me? And all she's done is done for her children, and ultimately that's what she wants. Why she wants to live.
One thing that people on the internet seem really angry about is that episode simultaneously dehumanized Dany massively, but also at the end humanized Cersei. Is that a fair criticism? Is there anything wrong with that?
I don't know if there is, because Dany's been so humanized. Everything we've seen Dany do, the show's always tried to justify. We've seen her do some horrible things to people, but it's always had this justification for it. She's freeing slaves, she's breaker of chains, she's doing what's right. Whereas Cersei's been kind of the opposite of she's evil, she's blowing people up, she doesn't care. So I think it's quite interesting now that they're kind of crossing paths of Cersei's dying and Dany's becoming the new villain, ostensibly, to do that switch.
I think it's a comment on power and stuff, and the closer you get to the throne, the more mental you get along the way.
Bitches be cray.
Yeah, because Cersei's been on the throne all that time. As soon as she loses it, basically it's the moment that she knows that she's lost this battle is when she becomes human again, and Dany knowing that she's won it is the moment that she becomes dehumanized. So I'd say there's definitely an argument for the not so much bitches be cray, but the throne be cray.
Right.
Maybe
Like the One Ring with all the rings.
Yeah, Hobbit ain't
maybe.
cray. Just rings are
Exactly.
cray. But this kind of getting turned back on itself. You know what just dawned on me? This, given that we thought it was all going to be about season 8 was going to be about the war against the dead, and actually the story is still about the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
How little have you seen the Iron Throne in season 8?
Is it still there? Has it been crushed out?
Cersei does that wine mom on Facebook thing about, buying a whore and earning a queen while she sat on it, I think. And then that's it.
Yeah.
I've not seen it since. Although we do know that now that vision Dany had where it's all snowy, it's actually
Ash.
it's literally that's your name. And it's made of thousands of burnt alive children.
Yeah.
There's
Lovely that.
there you go. I don't know. I still don't know about Jaime and Cersei. I think I agree with what you say that as an end point for them, it works fine. But there's just a gap between how Cersei, especially how well she's been done for 7 seasons, and then a perfect ending, and just this little bit here is going to annoy me forever.
Yeah,
I think
I can see that, and Jaime as well. I've really struggled watching it play out and kind of that idea of what you want for someone, and I've been sort of rooting for Jaime's redemption arc, and he's my favorite character. And I'm I want you to go do this and kill Cersei and go be with Brienne, and then just you don't get any of that. But then I also consider it, and it's the things I do for love.
He didn't get that because it's not what he felt he deserved.
It's what I think he deserves, but it's not what he thinks, and that's ultimately what matters.
Which, you're right, if you told me last week this is the way they're going to go with the Jaime thing, I'd have been like, oh, for God's sake, don't do that. It's so lazy. It's a complete mockery of it all. But when you actually see him watch it, and as you say, he's doing this because he doesn't believe he deserves. Yeah. He's not seen a redemption arc. He doesn't think he's changed. He is hateful like she is. Yeah. In that context, it works perfectly. He even says to her, nothing else matters. Yeah. It's just us. And that's it does kind of, again, just a bit more Cersei season 8. I think it would have worked absolutely perfectly. I told her this before, right? So I Googled Game of Thrones yesterday. I was just looking for something. And some newspaper, which will go nameless, had the headline, Game of Thrones Season 5, fans up in arms as Daenerys kills Arya. And I was like, no, that can't be. Now, I must assume I've just not seen the question mark at the end of it, and they've got that picture from her at the end. But I spent that entire last sequence of the episode, James going, oh my God, she actually dies here, and I already know about it. Obviously you didn't have this in your head, but did you buy the peril?
Not in the sense of I thought Arya was going to die.
I did. I was under the impression that was what was going to happen.
Well, no, I never felt Arya was going to die, but I don't think that was really what they were doing necessarily. I don't think they were trying to fake us out. I think it was more just she was the person who they used to guide us through those horrors of war. Her and they had that mother and daughter recurring throughout the episode, which kind of reminded me of Cersei and her children in Hardhome.
I think that mother and her daughter got more screen time than Cersei did.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, to be honest.
I thought what they did with Arya was really effective.
Did you think she was going to die?
No, I don't think I did. But she come too far and done too much to just die under some rubble.
Would have been a weird way for her to go out, but I bought. Which is the bit where she does get covered in fire. Very briefly. Yeah. And her hair doesn't even go up.
Yeah, well, maybe she's a Targaryen as well. Plot twist.
No, she couldn't be. She said she was going to King's Landing to kill the Queen. Does that still hold up, do you think?
She didn't say it was Cersei, but yeah, so if she is killing the Queen, then potentially it's Dany that she's going to have to Stab.
Yeah, I mean, of all the things the internet have been getting annoyed about, would Arya killing the Night King and Daenerys in the same season, would people have a meltdown over that, or could you see that being a fitting way to go?
I can see people having a meltdown.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be that's a lot. That's a
It is
lot to do.
I don't think that's earned anyway. So I'll have a meltdown maybe.
I've never seen that before. I would pay it. Where do we go from here? One episode left. Final thoughts.
I just want Sansa to come and sit on the throne now. All nice. Go, no, John, you don't want it. Let me sort this out and sit down. That was what I want. But I think there needs to be...
Really awkward sibling moment of him going, what are you doing? You didn't want it? You said you didn't want it? You said you
Sorry.
want it? Oh, yeah, but just before I knew about... Yeah, but you said...
Sansa just licks it, goes, sorry, it's mine now. But yeah, the whole Dany and John thing needs to be dealt with right. There's a whole hour and a half for this. There is a whole hour and a half for them to play out the whole nuances of their relationship and for John to go, oh, what you done? And for her to go, I'm the queen,
Is
soz.
that your Kit Harington?
Yeah. Oh,
What have you done?
What you done? And for her to be the queen and him to slowly come round to being like, right, I've got to take control for the good of the realm and go full Varys. And that's what's got to happen. But how? We'll have to wait and see.
James?
Yeah, I think Jon and Daenerys is where this season, where this whole story ultimately rests. And there are other players who need to be involved in that quite crucially. Sansa, Tyrion, a whole host of others. But it comes down to getting that right, and whether that's him killing her, and I can't see him taking the Iron Throne, but I'd like to see the Iron Throne melted down or something. Just
Melted down?
Yeah,
For
well-
what?
Just get rid of it. Democracy, mate.
Democracy. You
Yeah.
still got to have somewhere to sit.
You don't need an Iron Throne if you've got
Well.
like,
I think it's pretty squashed after all the thing being gone down, to be honest.
Not to be cynical, but I think the Iron Throne's too marketable an object on television for them to ever actually destroy it.
last season.
Yeah, but like you can always do like the return tours, and then the DVD comes out. People want to sit on the throne. You've sat on the Iron Throne.
But you're actually literally melted in real life.
It's very easy to say. It's very easy to say they should melt the Iron Throne when you sat on the Iron Throne.
Exactly.
All right?
I've done it. I've
The rest
done
of
it,
us
so-
would just let it go at some point before it has to go down.
Okay.
Any
It's not my
final?
fault.
Any final thoughts?
No, I just hope that they don't. Well, yes, I hope that they. I hope that they don't. Just don't piss it away on this last bit. Like my hands are
Don't
sweating. I'm
ruin
like,
this.
ugh.
Just out of interest, for you, where are they now? Like, how good would the last episode have to be for this to be considered a successful season? Because I think a lot of people have probably, while it's been a divisive story thing, a lot of people have sort of said, episode 2, brilliant.
Yeah.
Episode 5 now, incredibly exciting. Where are we now?
It needs to. It
Do
needs
they
to be
still
a 10
need
out of
to
10.
kill it?
It needs to be
They do,
the
yeah.
end. It's the ending to Game of Thrones, which has been the biggest TV series phenomenon we've seen in decades, maybe ever. So like, it's the ending episode. Can they give it a fitting ending? Is it possible? Like, yes, only if they do it right though.
Well, we'll find out next week, won't we? And then it's over forever. So yeah, let us know what you make of all that in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Loads more Game of Thrones content on both the channels across the week. You doing anything fun? Anything you should look out for?
Josh is doing that. Everyone that dies.
No.
So-
James, any articles in the pipeline?
Oh, all of them, mate.
We could do a big list of all the
Loads.
things we're going to have to fill the void in our lives with. Yeah, so suggestions for that in the comments
Sleep
below.
for me.
Say goodbye, Ash.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, James.
Goodbye.
I've been Adam. Goodbye, Adam. And yeah, get us all on Twitter. Why not? It's probably on the screen. We need to figure out what we make of all this, because I still don't know whether that episode's brilliant or whether I'm really confused by it. We'll get right on that. Bye.
Bye.